Good afternoon and welcome to your weekly FX Options Report. Today is Wednesday, July 27, 2011. In midweek trade, the major U.S. stock averages are in negative territory, with the Dow, Nasdaq, and S&P 500 all lower for the session as well as the week. Now, with no resolution over debt talks in Washington, D.C., the possibility of a default is looming, and that is weighing on overall market sentiment. Also, at the same time, ahead of the August 2nd deadline, there are concerns about a downgrade of the U.S. credit rating from the major credit rating agencies. Now, moving on to economic data releases, U.S. durable goods orders for the latest month declined by minus 2.1% from a downwardly revised 1.9% gain. Meanwhile, overseas in the Eurozone, Germany's finance minister reiterated that the Eurozone sovereign debt concerns are not over. And over the foreign exchange market, the U.S. dollar is seeing mixed trading against the major currencies. Obviously, the safe haven currencies, including the yen as well as the Swiss franc, are seeing gains. And the U.S. dollar did fall to another record low against the Swiss franc. Also, the dollar did fall to a record low against the Australian dollar. Meanwhile, the U.S. currency is seeing gains against both the euro and pound. And take a closer look at the Australian dollar following the latest inflation figures out from Australia. This did raise concerns about additional monetary policy tightening out from the Reserve Bank of Australia. Now, one way to trade your views on U.S. dollar strength or weakness is to take a look at ISE's FX options. One advantage is that they are U.S. dollar denominated. For more information, you can go to www.fxoptions.com. And in your next segment, which is your daily trend opinion, let's start out by looking at the AUX, the U.S. currency, against the Australian dollar. Now, obviously, the downside does prevail for that pair, and it has validated a rising wedge pattern, calling for a further decline. Therefore, the preference of trading central analysts for the AUX is short positions below 95, with targets coming in at 89.15 and 85.35 in extension. For the BPX, the US dollar against the British pound, that pair is under pressure. It is expected to face further weakness, and therefore the preference of trading central analysts for the BPX is short positions below 63, with targets coming in at 60.50 and 59.75 in extension. For the CDD, the US dollar against the CAD, that pair is also under pressure. The RSI is badly directed for that pair, and the preference of trading central analysts is short positions below the pivot of 97.50, with targets coming in at 93 and 90 in extension. Now, moving on to the UI, the dollar against the euro currency, the downside does prevail. Now, it has struck against its resistance, and the RSI remains capped by a declining trend line. Therefore, the preference of trading central analysts for the EUI is short positions below 72, with targets coming in at 68 and 67 in extension. For the SFC, the U.S. currency against the Swiss franc, the downside prevails. Now, the RSI for that pair is also capped by a declining trend line, and it does remain within a bearish channel, currently challenging its support. Therefore, the preference of trading central analysts is short positions below 85.50, with targets coming in at 78 and 75 in extension. Last but not least, for this segment, let's take a quick look at the YUK, the US dollar against the yen. Now, that pair is under pressure, and it is also challenging its previous low. Therefore, the preference of trading central analysts is short positions below 81.85, with targets coming in at 77 and 75 in extension. And in your next segment, which is your weekly trend opinion, let's start out by looking at the U.S. dollar last week. Now, the dollar is reversing to the downside against the majors, currently approaching a key support area. Also, it is notable that the puts on the PZO, which were recommended last week, the target was reached with a 100% gain. Now, regarding portfolio performance since its inception, which was in August of 2007, it is higher by 2,558.80%. And since its inception, it is higher by 791.24%. We do have one trade alert for you right now, including puts on the AUD. Now, the pair has validated a rising wedge pattern, and it is calling for a further decline. Since the AUD did fall to a record in this year, it is calling for another all-time low. Trading central analysts will be looking at the following pairs, including the CDD and the SKA. Well, looking ahead to next week, we will be looking at the EUI, the BPX, the YUK, and the SFC. Trading central analysts will be keeping a close eye on the EUI because it is standing with strong resistance at 72, and it does also remain under pressure. Meanwhile, for the BPX, It remains below its resistance at 63, while the daily RSI lacks upward momentum. For the YUK, it is challenging its previous low, and technical indicators do remain badly directed. Very quickly, last but not least, for the SFC, it does remain strongly bearish as it is trading within a declining channel. And that does wrap it up for this week's FX Options Report. Make sure to tune in next Wednesday for your latest update. Thanks for watching and have a great day.